Tough to handicap Aaron Rodgers, but if you were going to, if I said Aaron Rodgers next year will be blank.
I I don't think he knows. I don't think the Jets can tell you what their plan is until there's a head coach and general manager in place. Um, a
Would
head,
there be a market for Rodgers outside of the Jets?
yeah, I think somebody would take a look at it. Look, like, do I think he is what he was 3 or 4 years ago? No. Do I think there's a possibility that you'd be getting a very motivated Aaron Rodgers if the Jets wound up dumping him? Yeah. I mean, I can remember talking to Aaron about this in July and August, right? And he said to me, I didn't like part of my reasoning for coming back and going through everything that it takes to go through to get to the point where you can play quarterback in the NFL in 2024 was coming off the Achilles, and I didn't want to go out like that. Dan, do you think he wants to go out like this? Like this is worse than the Achilles, isn't it? Like if you're talking about, like everybody would understand if you're 40 years old, you're going out with the Achilles. Like everybody would understand that. Like this is like going out like this is worse. So yeah, I don't think he knows what he's going to do, but I don't
Yeah,
rule
but
out
what would
whatsoever.
you say? Okay, now I can go out. Like if you're
I
Rodgers,
know,
hey, we
and
went 9-8 and we didn't make the playoffs. Now
and
I can go out.
look, there's the possibility that he goes through the contemplation of, all of this, and he comes out of it and says, you know what, I just can't put my body through it again. I don't want to go through what it's going to take the next 6 months to position myself to play football at 41 years old. That's certainly possible. I think it's also possible that like he has a Brett Favre hair across his ass the way that Favre did when the Packers let him go, and you could see like a Vikings year for Favre from Rodgers somewhere else. Like I don't think that that's impossible. That like maybe one last time he wants to come back and put everything into it and say, this is my last year and I'm gonna do everything I can to be in position to play. And some team out there looks at it and says, this guy could be a bridge. How would he look in Pittsburgh?
I don't.
I mean, seriously.
Okay, how would Mike
And they've
Tomlin
invest
deal with that?
but how would he deal with Russell Wilson? He dealt with Russell Wilson, right?
Yeah, but I don't think Russ is as much a diva as Aaron Rodgers is.
I don't know. I mean, I think people that have coached the two that have coached those two might disagree. I
Well,
don't know.
Russ got humbled.
All,
Russ truly got humiliated in Denver.
Right. And
Eh,
and I think to some degree Rodgers has been with the Jets too. Like I look, here's the way I look at it. Um, I think there's going to be an environment out there with quarterbacks, right? I mean, you go to Cleveland too. I look at it like this is like if you're a team that needs a quarterback right now, and you're looking at the draft. Do you love Shador Sanders? Do you love Cam Ward? Like, I feel like this year's class in the draft is closer to the 22 class, the Pickett class, than it is
yeah,
to the last
yeah,
two.
yeah.
So if you're a team that says like, okay, like we want to get a young quarterback, but we need something to get us by for 1 year, wouldn't Rodgers appeal to you? Like just the chance of what it could be with a motivated Rodgers is going to come back and show everybody. Like I don't think it's the worst idea in the world. You know what I mean? Like, and I will say this for Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh, like he's shown a remarkable ability to deal with whatever personality comes his way. I mean, we didn't know that Antonio Brown was a problem until like the very end in Pittsburgh. Think about that. You know what I mean? Like we didn't know who he had in that receiver room. Like at the time, he had Antonio Brown and Mike Wallace and Emmanuel Sanders, big personalities. Le'Veon Bell at running back. Like I mean, how he's managed George Pickens over the last few years. I'm not willing him to Pittsburgh, but I'm just telling you, like I don't think that part of it would be as big a problem for Tomlin as it might be for another coach.